Daniel Suarez, man, snaps his 57 race winless streak, dramatic fashion, the 3-wide photo finish. It's everywhere. I mean, I was on Twitter, the top 5 trending things on Twitter were all about the finish, all about NASCAR, just incredible stuff to just gain steam to the beginning of the season. I mean, what an insane way to end this race. And Suarez, man, when you have Blaney and Kyle Busch, those two drivers who we expect to win, Daniel Suarez coming off of a regressed 2023 season. I mean, this is huge, man. What are your takeaways here for just how monumental this is for Daniel Suarez and just the race itself?
Yeah, and to start, I do believe somebody picked Suarez last week. I think I remember saying his name. It was him and Chastain.
Got to give you your credit. Yeah, that was a good call.
I had to give myself credit because that's really tough to do at a track like that. A lot of big guys didn't make it to the end. But yeah, Suarez, I saw his track record there, and I knew he had a decent shot. And as everyone's been talking about, he needs to have these good runs. I mean, we know what season he's coming off of last year, and with back-to-back super speedways, and we're going to talk about a lot of drivers, but Suarez was one who this can go really good or really bad for someone like him. Like he does not want to come out of these first 2 races, even though it's very easy to do. He doesn't want to come out of these races already in a hole. Like he wanted to come out ahead. Austin Dillon, many others who weren't able to do that. And, to come out with a win, take away, the finish and how he did it. Like a win is a win. It has the same amount of points, gives you the same amount of momentum. And I think what spoke most about him, even past the victory and everything Justin Marks said about, his future and where Daniel is right now. I love what Suarez said. He knows that the champion doesn't have one win at the end of the year. The champion never wins race number 2 and then nothing else for the rest of the season. And he knows this season isn't, a done deal. It's not like he can do nothing else for the rest of the season. And we're like, oh, he won Atlanta, so he's fine. Atlanta's going to be old news in a few weeks. And if Daniel gets caught up in a few incidents, if he doesn't run well, qualify well, if he loses a few dozen spots and points and Chastain is kicking ass, we're right back to where we were, a couple weeks ago before the season started. And he's back on the proverbial hot seat. So celebrate it. I'm glad he did celebrate it and ride this momentum into the spring, but also keep your head on a swivel that like you got to stay with the times and bring the competition for next week. And
we've got some serious momentum here now entering Vegas. And in looking at Daniel Suarez, kind of bigger picture here, I think it is important that you kind of keep yourself in check because Suarez might have had the most amount of pressure on his shoulders of any driver coming into this season. When you look at Trackhouse and what they were really built on, like they were built around Daniel Suarez, former Xfinity Series champion, who was really searching for new life in his career, where it almost seemed like he was never going to, find his way into a top tier ride once again, losing those spots at JGR, Stewart-Haas, 2 top tier, teams at that point in time. Suarez failed to qualify for the Daytona 500 back in 2020. Like, this is a driver who didn't even make the Daytona 500 a couple of years ago. So with Trackhouse taking the chance on him and wanting to revive his career, he gets that first Cup Series win in 2022, falls just short of the round of 8. And then, the struggles last year were very apparent. He regressed in almost every category, finished 19th in the standings, average finish in 19th. It was just not great for Daniel Suarez. And that seat was certainly heating up because you look at who Trackhouse has brought in: Zane Smith, hot young rookie; Shane Van Gisbergen, a rookie. And certainly all the hype surrounding him.
He had more wins. He had more wins than Suarez last year.
Exactly, yeah. Just comes in and wipes the floor. So for Suarez, you certainly had to think that, all the pressure was certainly mounting. And this team in the offseason, they made wholesale changes atop the pit box. They sent Travis Mack over to Kaulig Racing. They brought in Matt Swiderski from Kaulig, who crew chiefed with AJ Allmendinger. And just 2 weeks in, Suarez is heading to the playoffs. So really incredible stuff. I'm going to be interested to see kind of where Suarez is able to run kind of the rest of the regular season, where this team is able to put themselves, because this has some serious implications. I think this is going to have some serious implications as we get to the waning stages of the regular season, because Suarez is one of those drivers who was going to be around the playoff bubble. And that's a playoff bubble driver where one of those spots is now taken. So for those drivers who hover around 14th to 18th, the pressure's just gotten a lot much higher for those guys, just because Suarez now is locked in and he can now take the rest of this time to get himself right. But I mean, hats off to Suarez, to Trackhouse. I mean, they're back in the spotlight at the center of the sport. And look, now Suarez has his viral moment of his own, that may have saved his future with the team. I mean, you look at Ross Chastain and Daniel Suarez, responsible for two of the, most viral moments of the sport over the last couple of years. Pretty amazing. Trackhouse, everything they're about is awesome. And I really think that the sport is better when they're winning. And to do it this early with Daniel Suarez is really impressive. So got to give hats off to them and for Suarez. But like you said, I think it's important to celebrate it, but also to kind of keep yourself in check a little bit, because, we don't know what the future of Daniel Suarez still is, even though Justin Marks has kind of reaffirmed that, their commitment to Suarez is even greater now that he was able to win. But multiple wins, Suarez is going to be looking for more this year. So